babyface who one day you could look at as one of the top 3 or 4 guys in the company, or does he go back to doing kind of what he was doing with The Way in NXT, where he was kind of goofy and he was good for laughs and stuff like that? Do you go back to that Austin Theory, or do you go to an Austin Theory who frankly they can make money on, and that's not really a money making kind of gimmick? I think that, like you said, he's very talented, and I think he could be something. They haven't been able to, if it's in there, they haven't been able to pull it out of him. And maybe this could be what gets him to that next level. If Grayson Waller is the one who turns on him, and then they try to get the fans behind Theory, maybe they'll get behind him. But it just feels like there's something missing. There's got to be more there, and they just haven't been able to bring it out of him.
Over the past 5 years, Anheuser-Busch has invested nearly $2 billion into our facilities and our people. Enhanced
That one great sort of oil to feud with, who can, back to Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre can bring the best out of anybody. He has upped his game like this, and you saw what he was able to do with Punk, and he could do that with anybody else on the roster. If Theory could be matched up with somebody who can help kind of bring that out in him on promos, and he doesn't need a gimmick, he doesn't need to be TL Hopper or anything like that, but just somebody who can help bring that out of him. I don't know who that is. I don't know what the story is that they can develop, but it's more about coming up with a compelling storyline for him, not so much a gimmick. And then we'll see, how far he can go. But he's been there for a number of years already, and I think that at some point you have to give him the shot to do it. What he was doing with Vince when he was kind of Vince's pet project, that was just weird. That whole thing was very strange.
You mean the golden egg?
Oh God, the golden egg. Yeah, right. Well, they laid an egg with that whole story, but if they go back to him and give him a shot, give him a shot to really get over as a top tier player, and then it's sink or swim, and we'll find out whether or not he can pull it off.
Man, they've done him dirty, man. That John Cena feud went nowhere. Winning at WrestleMania with John Cena went nowhere. Then cashing the money in the back in the fucking United States Championship, the golden egg. I mean, that's all people know about him. It's sad that those are 3 strikes and you're out. People, honestly.
But think about it. They wasted a John Cena win at WrestleMania. They wasted it. I don't blame Austin Theory for that. It was on the company to follow up on that. You beat John Cena. I mean, he cheated, but still, he beat John Cena at WrestleMania. John Cena has as we know, John Cena has a finite number of WrestleMania matches. He got one left. So they wasted it on Austin Theory because they didn't follow up on it. I can't wrap my head around the fact they wasted a John Cena match, one of his last ones, at WrestleMania, doing what they did, and had no plan to follow up on it. I don't even remember what he did in the immediate aftermath of that match.
I don't remember either.
I thought maybe they were going to do something with him and Montez Ford. It looked like he was getting some steam behind him, maybe as a single. And I remember looking at that and going, you know what? This could be 2 of the real up-and-coming future stars in this company. And they're going to feud maybe over the U.S. title or something. Even with Montez Ford, they didn't follow up on that either.
No.
Right? He was in that Elimination Chamber, and then it was just right back to the Street Profits. So there were a lot of very weird decisions that were made, and I think there were some big missed opportunities.
Yeah, I remember they feuded him with Bobby Lashley a lot of the time while he was United States Champion Theory. I mean, there were a couple of good matches out of that, but I mean, that didn't really amount to much of anything. As far as who I could see him, if they want to put him in that youth movement situation, I could see some great matches with him and AJ Styles, him and Braun Breaker. I would love to see it. I think the guy's got all the potential in the world. Everybody says he's a mini John Cena. He's got the makings of the next John Cena. He's obviously got the look down. Like you said, he's just missing that one thing or whatever it is. I do believe that when you have the right dance partner, you're basically off and running. So hopefully they can find him that person on Monday night. So yeah, Obafemi, no surprise there, won. I don't know where Oba goes with the NXT Championship. Trick Williams has been looking for that championship. He lost to Eddie Thorpe in a strap match, and I didn't really care one way or another about this. I think Trick Williams is great as far as his presentation, the energy that he brings to the arena. I still don't think he's ready for a major main roster call-up yet. I don't think he's really tied everything together. As I said on social media, they are pushing Eddie Thorpe. I don't really find an on-screen character connection with him yet on television, but I'm surprised that Trick Williams lost this match. I don't know how you felt about this.
Oh, I was shocked. I mean, flat out, I was shocked. I mean, obviously it's a big win for Eddie Thorpe because he just beat a former NXT champion, and they've been pushing Trick pretty hard for a while now. I will admit I have not been following the week-to-week kind of developments in their story, so I didn't have a real connection to the story. I'm aware of Thorpe kind of outplaying Ava, outsmarting her all those weeks ago when he kind of he outsmarted her into an NXT championship match. Right, he faked some kind of backstage attack and made her look like a complete idiot. And I said, okay, that's kind of clever. But the segments that I've seen with them and then seeing the match, I mean, it didn't do anything for me. I thought easily it was the weakest thing in the entire show.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not to say it sucked. It's just there were a lot of other really good matches on the show that were just better than this one, and I had no connection to the story that they were telling. But again, that's a big win for Eddie Thorpe. I don't know if they're going to run it back and have Trick beat him. I don't know if that's going to be a television match. I don't know if that's going to be a stand and deliver rematch. I'm sure that's not the end of it. Trick will win in the end, and it's up to Shawn Michaels, I guess, to see if he's going to make something out of this guy coming off of this win. I don't see what he sees right now, but that's NXT, right? I mean, you're trying different things. You're trying to bring the best out of the people that you have and see what they bring to the table, and go from there. And whether or not they can make an impact on the main roster, they're going to spend more time down in NXT. And that's really the point of being down there, to see who can be a top player and who needs a little more seasoning, a little more time. So we'll see. But obviously for him, has to be the biggest win of at least his WWE career, right? I mean, I don't think he's been in a bigger match.
Who, Eddie Thorpe? No.
Yeah, I mean, has he got any championship matches that
outside that NXT title match?
Well, yeah, outside that one.
No.
That wasn't on a PLE though.
No, it was on Tuesday night.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. This was the biggest win of his, I guess, career. I mean, I know, obviously he was playing elsewhere before he came to WWE, but if not the biggest, certainly one of the biggest wins of his entire carear.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with him. Trick, I don't know where they go. I'm kind of indifferent here. I think they keep him on NXT, but I can also see him getting called up after WrestleMania as well for either Raw or SmackDown.
Do you feel like he's ready to be on the main roster?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
No.
Yeah,
the energy and the gimmick, yeah, but I just feel like he hasn't tied it all together in the ring yet. I don't really again, I don't feel anything when he wrestles. I feel like honestly more he's trying to imitate Booker T than anything. I don't know who he is yet in the ring, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I feel like he would benefit by spending more time down there.
Yeah.
There's no need to rush him onto the main roster.
We had Ethan Page. He defeated Javon Evans in what I thought was the sleeper match for me. Anyway, this is my personal opinion and take on this. The sleeper match of the night. I didn't really give this much thought. I'm not really a big Javon Evans guy, but I do see the talent that the kid possesses. He's only 20 years old. Not the biggest Ethan Page guy either. I felt like it was WWE acting very hastily, giving him the NXT championship as soon as they brought him over from AEW. But again, this just goes to show you that the top of the NXT card right now is probably the weakest it's ever been. But Ethan Page, you get the victory over Javon Evans. This was a very good match, very physical. I enjoyed Javon Evans' intensity. It brought up a little different vibe for him. Normally, he's the high-flying guy that pulls out all the crazy stunts and the flips and the dives, but the intensity here and the ruggedness of what he needed to do here against Ethan Page was really good. And Ethan Page, Jason, I feel like he's finally kind of turning the corner. You know, he came in and I didn't really, again, feel much of anything. I just feel like he was an extension of what he was trying to be in AEW. He's finally kind of finding himself in NXT, and I'm enjoying him just a little bit more. And we'll talk about Josh Alexander's former tag team partner potentially coming in here during this segment. But what did you think of this overall match? I thought it was very good.
Yeah, very good match. You mentioned nothing too crazy, but I mean, the first 30 seconds of the match.
Well, yeah, the dive, yes.
I mean, my God, what did that remind you of, by the way? First person that came to mind when I saw that.
The only person I could think of is when you and I are doing commentary for HOG. Amazing Red flies into the fifth row all the time.
Yes, yes. First thing I thought of. That's a red dive right there. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. You know what? He is very young. Obviously, they see a lot of potential in him. He's already worked with Randy Orton, right? That was a match that they specifically set up for him. And I knew of the story between these two, and I liked the finish where he knocked the mouth guard out of midair. He had that mouth guard because Page had injured him previously. And he knocked it out of his mouth. This thing was like, I said, I'm surprised he didn't dislocate his jaw just by wearing it. This thing was so thick.
Yep. And
then he beats him. So obviously their story is not yet finished. But I enjoyed this match more than I thought I would. And I thought that it showed, like you said, there was kind of a ruggedness in Javon. Like he looked like he had a purpose when he came out there, as he should have. Now, there were certain moves, of course, where he's flying around and doing stuff and maybe not selling this or that. And yeah, it's like, okay, he can work on that. But he's very good, for his level of experience and his age. And I thought this was a very good match. Me and you, I think we're in agreement on that.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more from both of these guys in the same way that we saw it on Saturday night. And Ethan Page, I don't know where he goes. I thought that he would probably get the call up to the main roster around this time. He's also a main roster call up potentially after WrestleMania, but he's a solid name where I think he could benefit from maintaining that top guy feel on NXT. If he moves to the main roster, I don't really see much of anything from Ethan Page. US title, IC title, that's pretty much the extent of where he goes there. So I think NXT is probably more beneficial for him. But yeah, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say that's why I think he's a great heel.
Yeah,
and he's very easy to hate, like in this character that he plays. So that's why I think he made for such a great opponent for someone like Evans. Now would be, I think, a terrible time to call anybody up, frankly, the main roster, because we're heading into WrestleMania. So post WrestleMania, maybe. Honestly, I don't even see it post WrestleMania. I think he stays down there a little bit longer. But like you said, I mean, I think that he would make a great like heel Intercontinental champion or heel United States champion. Someone at that level. I think he would excel in a role like that.
Yeah, I think too. I think that's a good spot for him, but I think there's a better spot for him. And I discussed this week on my end. I don't know how you feel about it, but the news of his ex-tag team partner, Josh Alexander, is making the rounds. He's finally a free agent, and it was reported that he's hired Barry Bloom to represent him in contract talks. So when one hires Barry Bloom, the one thing that people want is the good old payday, because Barry Bloom, he is doing deals for Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada, Cody Rhodes, and several others. Jim Ross, the Young Bucks, several others. So he's basically, who's the fucking the guy in baseball? I guess everybody the big contract. What's his name? Scott Boras. He's basically the Scott Boras of pro wrestling. That's what he is.
Well, he represents a lot of AEW talent. Yeah. So that could be a sign also of what's to come. I think you and I, we differ on this. I think AEW is a better landing spot for him, honestly. I think that the obvious thing for him, if he were to go to NXT, would be to reunite the North with Ethan Page. They were a great tag team in TNA once upon a time, and they could always use a new tag team, especially one with the experience level that they have. Do you honestly believe, though, like if he goes to the WWE main roster, he doesn't strike me as someone who is going to end up in a spot where you would consider him to be kind of a top 5 guy on that roster? I feel like he has a better chance at that in AEW than he does in WWE. I'm not talking NXT, I'm talking WWE.
Do I see him as a top 5 guy in WWE? No.
Top guy in TNA. I mean, so what I'm asking you is, if you feel like he would be a better fit for that company over AEW, why? You don't think he has more potential to be higher up on the food chain in AEW than he does in WWE?
Well, I always say the same thing when people bring up free agency in AEW. Do they need Josh Alexander? I mean, they have so many other people that they're not pushing right now, and you're just going to push those people further down the card by bringing in somebody like Josh Alexander. The rumor was that Speedball Mike Bailey was going over there. We haven't seen him yet. Where's he going to end up? They're going to bring in Mike Bailey and Josh Alexander at the same time? I mean, AEW right now, to me, is just so overloaded with talent that they don't need anybody, and they could create great television with who they have existing right now. Pushing Josh Alexander onto television is not going to do much for me. I mean, sure, there's going to be great matches over there with him, obviously, but I would rather him feel a little bit more fulfilled creatively in NXT. You could do the Ethan Page thing, get the North back together. I could see him running the top of that card almost instantaneously on day one. I mean, I do think that he could get the call up to the main roster eventually, but, one thing at a time.
Okay, he gets called up to the main roster, and then what?
Hands like Chad Gable.
Oh, what a great spot to be in. That's fantastic, because we all see how great Gable's doing right now.
I mean, I don't know, man. I just don't think they need anybody else. That's the point I'm trying to make. They don't need anybody
else. You always need new faces. Like, I agree that AEW has a surplus of talent. Not that WWE doesn't. I mean, they got a shitload of talent, too. But I just feel like, at the moment, what would be the better fit for him? I would give the edge to AEW. That's assuming that Tony, he doesn't fall through the cracks, which has happened with people before. But I think with the roster they have there, I just feel like he would end up being a better fit. Yes, he would have great matches. You still have to come up with compelling stories for him. I don't know if he would end up in a faction or anything like that. I just feel like, yes, he would excel in NXT, but you have to look beyond just NXT. I don't think he would be signing a big money contract just to go working NXT for the next 3 years. So if you look beyond that, unless they put him and Ethan Page together and they become a permanent team and they move that team up to the main roster, I think they would be a huge asset to either one of those tag team divisions. But does he want to be just a tag team wrestler? He was a world champion in TNA.
I know, and he's also 38 years old. So what is his mindset? Does he want to wrestle? Does he want creativity? Does he want story? Does he just want to get paid?
well, that's what it boils down to. Like, what is he looking for? Is he looking for the big payday? Not that this is going to be his last contract, but like you said, he's not getting any younger. Is he looking for the big payday and he's going to be happy in your company? Or is he looking for the ability to be able to do Japan or something like that? You're not going to get that in WWE. Right? If he wants to still work in TNA, then sure, go to NXT. It'd be like he never left.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, he basically wrestled his final indie dates and it sounded like he was done. Like, I'm not doing indies anymore. So that may not be something that's important to him. So I don't know. I can't get in his head and find out what is the most important thing to him. I'm just looking at the rosters and looking at him, his talent, his character, what he brings to the table. And WWE main roster, NXT or AEW, I think AEW is a better fit. But you know what? I hope wherever he goes, he gets paid.
Well, listen, I would like to see him on television. He's a fantastic pro wrestler. So it's going to come down to money. And
I was waiting for this for a while because if you remember, he thought that he was going to be able to test free agency a year ago, and they rolled him over.
Yeah.
So now he's finally able to go out there. I don't blame him for going out and getting Barry Bloom. He's like, you know what? I've been waiting a year for this. Get me the best possible deal that you can. I hope he gets it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. He's going to go wherever the money is, and AEW's got a boatload of it. AEW is not afraid to throw money at anybody. Honestly, WWE's got a budget to maintain. They're a publicly traded company, so we'll see what happens. I'll keep an eye on that. We'll certainly discuss that as we come to a final decision on Josh Alexander. But I do think that the North would look good in WWE. As far as the rest of this Vengeance Day, we had this group, Jason, that showed up. This they're calling it the Shield remade in 2025. Or
no. This is not the Shield remade. I saw them and I said, oh my god, it gives me flashbacks of Retribution.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be thinking about Retribution. So I hope for their sake things work out a lot better than it did for those guys.
Yeah, they beat down the tag team champions at the end of the tag team title match, and then they came out again and attacked Obafemi. They don't have a name yet, but it is 4 individuals, and they were all wearing masks of sorts, ski masks that cover half of their face. But I don't know what their direction is. I don't know if this is it, if there's going to be any more members being added, if there's going to be another name that's leading them that's bigger than these guys. I don't know where NXT's mindset is at with this group, but you know, already if it's giving off Retribution vibes, Jason, it's not going to last long. I don't really find myself interested in what we saw, but I mean, it's a bunch of performance center talent, which I'm always interested in seeing who develops out of the performance center and what they're going to do on TV. But I mean, to me, that was a terrible first impression.
No, I wouldn't say it was terrible. I just think when I saw them jump in there like that, that's the first thing I thought of. I don't know who any of these people are. So like they were kind of people were throwing names out. I think that looks like this guy, or you know, I'm like, okay, I don't know who any of these people are. So if they're very inexperienced and this is really their first time in a situation like this, I hope they do well. You know, I hope that if they end up giving them a big push, it's not too much too soon. I mean, we'll see. It's literally just one night, so we'll have to see how it plays out. It's not the worst idea in the world to have a band of I don't say rookies, but they did this with the Nexus.
Outcasts?
No, well, yeah, okay, but I'm saying, like, as far as what they did with the Nexus was a collection of, there weren't any veteran talents in there outside of Bryan Danielson, really, but they took this group of unknowns and they came up with a hot angle for them, and that was on the main roster. They were attacking John Cena and CM Punk, and it was the hottest thing in wrestling. I mean, there was a huge buzz around that when that happened, and I mean, we could talk about the follow-up and everything, but the Nexus was the hottest thing in wrestling there for about 2 months, and a lot of the talent in that group had never been in a situation like that before, so that could have gone a lot further than it did. I'm not saying this will be on that level, but it's not a bad idea to try like a renegade kind of group like this. I just can't tell you, like, not knowing who these people are. I don't know how good they are. I don't know if they can cut promos. And like you said, I don't know if there's some sort of benefactor is the right word, but is there somebody else, who's going to be revealed as sort of the mastermind or something like that? We'll have to let the story play out and see. But on the first night, that's just the first thing I thought of, was Retribution. I hope for their sake it's more Nexus than Retribution, but it's only one night. We'll have to let it play out.
It's only one night. They got a chance of who are you in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
That's what I was saying. I was singing it here as I was watching the show. I was saying the same thing.
I don't know, man. We'll definitely keep an eye on those guys, but right now, me personally, not all that impressed. Obviously, there's a lot more to be done with that group and what their mission statement is. Are they going after Obafemi? Are they looking to take over the entire brand? I don't know. Maybe it's WWE just trying to be petty and show Tony Khan how to really run an invasion angle or a takeover angle of sorts better than the Death Riders. I don't know.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Shawn Michaels is not booking this group with Tony Khan in mind at all whatsoever.
Well, he's booked Ricky Starks versus Ethan Page, apparently. That's going to be Ricky's first feud.
So does that mean that Ethan Page and Javon Evans is over?
I guess so. Chad, is that correct? Are we getting Ricky versus Ethan Page? Because I know some people were mentioning Wesley, too. That Ricky Starks' first match is going to be against Wesley, which is great.
That'd be a great match.
Yeah,
actually. Yeah.
So yes, he is Ricky Starks. I guess that kind of blows the cover on the story that we're going to read in a little bit, but we'll get to that.
Well, no, apparently not. Apparently he is Ricky Saints.
Ricky Saints?
That is what everybody is saying. Yes. He is Ricky Saints.
Oh man, they couldn't help themselves, bro.
Why can Ethan Page come in as Ethan Page, and Sean Spears can come in as Sean Spears,
and Jade Cargill can come in as Jade Cargill,
but Ricky Starks is Ricky Saints? Can someone explain this to me?
Listen. We've been through this same song and dance. How many times have I sat on this very show? Not even with this guy here. I said the name Finn Balor sucks. The name Gunther sucks. We all got used to it. But at first,
got the same initials at least.
Yeah, I guess sure. But at first hearing that, I mean, that's just fucking ridiculous. I'm so just knowing that he came from AEW and he's Ricky Starks. We know him as Ricky Starks. Now he's Ricky Saints. He sounds like a fucking character of Grand Theft Auto. Let me go do this side quest and get this drug deal done for Ricky Saints. You kidding
Saints
me?
Row.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know the logic behind this. I would love
They showed him on TV the day after he was released. How quick do you think they can turn around and get all that paperwork done? That would just give you a new name.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what I assumed. That literally we found out that Tony Khan released him from his contract on Monday. He showed up on television on Tuesday. So I was like, okay. Everyone was freaking out about the fact, they didn't mention his name. They didn't mention his name. It's going to be Trill London or something. They didn't mention his name. And I'm like, look, he literally jumped in 24 hours. Like, I'm sure there's a legal process they have to go through, and in the end it'll all work out.
And now I'm looking at the names that they fucking trade, but Trill London's on there apparently.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned it. Trill London. The names on there are just completely fucking ridiculous. Everybody was freaking out about that. At least it's not that bad. But I just don't understand I just don't understand it. All these other people came from the same place and are using the same names that they were using there. What made this situation different? That he had to change part of his name?
I don't know. I really don't know. Now the chat's saying the Hardys are coming back to WWE next Tuesday on NXT. I'm not surprised by that at all. That was just any week now.
Well, I was surprised we didn't get a Jeff Hardy cameo in the Royal Rumble this year.
Yeah,
I think that was inevitable. Once they made it formal and they put that press release out announcing the partnership, I said it's just a matter of time before we see at least Jeff, if not Matt and Jeff. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. But I can't get over this. I just can't get over this Ricky Saints.
Ricky Saints. Listen, that's why I put it in the title. Ricky without a name. What's his name going to be?
Well, so someone is wondering, did they want to change his name because it was too close to Zoe Stark?
Now that would be a Vince thing.
It would be. I don't think that's why. Whatever the reason is, I'm going to say it's probably not related to that. But I just would love to know. Maybe there's a legal. I just would love to know the thought process that went into why him and no one else.
I don't know.
And he's more well established. than than a lot of other people would be. People obviously know who he is. He's been on television. He's had some level of success, so people know him by that name. So yeah, I would love to know the rationale behind it. I don't think it's a bad name. Let me say that first, okay?
Well, it's not a bad name, but who knows? It might be his idea.
No, it could be. But what I'm saying is, I don't think that Ricky Starks sat at home for a year, knowing that he was eventually going to come to WWE, figuring when I go to WWE, I don't want to use my name. I want to come up with a different name.
No, I don't think that's the case because I know neither one of us would be thinking that same thing either. It's like, why would we want to change our name?
So even if he had the option, and this is what he came up with because he's from New Orleans, I get that. But like, why was there a need to make that change? That's what I want to know.
I can tell you. I don't have a logical answer for that.
Yeah,
maybe it's partially he wants a name change. Maybe he wants a fresh slate after what he's been through. Maybe WWE's got to monetize his name, trademark his name, merchandise reasons. I don't know.
There's got to be some legal reason for it. I'm not like angry about it. Again, if they called him Trill London, I'm walking out. Like that's it, right? Okay, so thank God that didn't happen. But I'm just genuinely curious to find out why any change had to be made at all.
Yeah, listen, I said the same thing about Gunther being changed from Walter. It is what it is. Now I can't look at Gunther and not think Gunther. So hopefully we get used to it as time goes on. I'm sure we will. But Ricky Starks, guys, if you're just joining us now, Ricky Saints is his name. He's no longer Ricky Starks.
Is it better than Cope? Yes.
Yes, anything's better than Cope. Yes, we're gonna have to cope with his name change.
Yes.
I do have some news on Ricky Starks. This was coming from Fightful and Sean Ross Sapp. He debuted obviously last week. This week got a name change. He signed his contract. Ricky Saints is his new name. Last week they didn't say anything. They just came out with a microphone and he basically said, "You know who I am. Fine, we know who you are."
Like Scott Hall.
Yeah. So Fightful had heard word of AEW releases on Friday that week, and that didn't end up becoming official until the week after. They were told that these names have long been considered Ricky Starks amongst the names. Obviously Starks, Miro, and then Malachi was given his early release. He was a free agent, so he's probably on his way to WWE as well. Ray Phoenix, there is a situation right now where supposedly Chris Featherstone of Sportskeeda has mentioned that Ray Phoenix and AEW are in negotiations to possibly let him out of his contract so he can join these three other guys. Don't know if they're all going to end up in WWE at the same time, but I think everybody's kind of feeling that they're all going to end up over there. But Ray Phoenix being let go would be a great situation for not only Phoenix but AEW as well, so they can release him and just not deal with that headache anymore. But Starks, he showed up, came together very quickly, says Sapp. As of December, they were told that nobody from WWE had communicated interest to Starks, but those we spoke to there knew he would be signed as soon as he became available. Starks showed up on NXT. Fightful inquired with NXT and main roster sources. Those that we spoke to on the main roster said they believe that the majority of career heading into WrestleMania is already planned, and NXT would be a much better, much more fluid working space for him, especially working him into the fold of career. So we said this last week. We said this about Jordan Grace, and now we're saying this about Ricky Starks. I don't mind either one of those moves for now, being that the WrestleMania plans are probably 85% done. So I like that move for both Ricky Starks and Jordan Grace. But as far as the name change, Jason, there was a bunch of names that fans were going crazy over. Osiris Griffin, who I think is a part of this new Retribution-like stable. Hayes Jameson. You mentioned Trill London.
Yeah, Trill London. That's one of my favorites. No, I said Hayes Jameson. Jameson can put you in Hayes. If you have too much of it. I don't know about using that as a name for someone. But continue because there's a few other ones too.
Harley Riggins, Summer Sorrell, Jax Presley, Mason Holiday, Draco Knox, Tate Wilder, Braxton Cole, Chantel Monroe, and Aria Bennett.
A mixture of Caleb Braxton and Michael Cole.
Yeah,
that's kind of merge them together, and that's what you end up with.
I think the best one out of all of those is Draco Knox.
You don't like Trill London?
No.
Okay.
No,
I don't blame you.
No Trill London.
I don't blame you. That's your career is over at that point. So it's like, imagine like you just get saddled with that name. It's like, oh man.
It may be one of those Evolve students, WWID students. We don't know.
Could be.
But yeah, that's the latest on Ricky Starks, guys. Ricky Saints is his name going forward, so we'll keep an eye on Ricky Saints on NXT. As far as this Vengeance Day, one last match main event went to the ladies: Roxanne Perez, Bayley, Cora Jade, and the lovely Julia, NXT Women's Champion. She walked out with the championship, and thought it was a very good match. Nothing too crazy here. Nothing I'm going to go back and rewatch and say, oh man, this is something I got to go back and rewatch every now and then. This was a very good fatal four-way. Bayley and Roxanne have a little thing going on. I don't know where they're going heading into WrestleMania. They could very well be each other's WrestleMania match. We don't really know. But as far as Julia, she had a stare down at the end of this match station with Stephanie Vaquer, and I don't know if they were teasing a champion versus champion match. I know they're very good friends away from what we see on Tuesday nights. But if that is the case, A, fantastic. B, if not, the leaders of the NXT Women's Division, both Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. I mean, this is like days of old where we had Bayley and Sasha and Charlotte and Becky and then Asuka, Io. I mean, this is NXT's getting back to a day and age where the women's division is carrying this brand legitimately on a weekly basis. And you can't get any better than those two women at the top.
Well, I would say three women at the top.
Oh, now, yes.
It's not just Julia and Stephanie now. You got Jordan Grace, and she's right there with them. So they're really spoiled right now as far as the top of that women's division is concerned. I thought it was a very good main event. Not the best thing on the show, but it was a very good match. I was surprised. At first, I was surprised that it was Roxanne who took the losing fall. But it makes more sense to me if she is going to get the full-time call-up. I thought maybe that's why they put Cora in there, was to take the loss. But it was very good stuff. And you can't argue, the way they went off the air, that division is not well taken care of. That division is in good hands. Does Jordan Grace need to be in NXT right now? No. But if they don't have any story in mind for her all queued up for WrestleMania, then what's the point in bringing her up to the main roster right now? There's no harm in her spending a few months down there. And then when the time is right, Raw, SmackDown, doesn't really matter. Wherever they feel like they may be able to use her best, she's going to kill it on the main roster. Her and Rhea Ripley, her and Bianca Belair.
No, I mean, she's a shoe-in no matter where they put her.
Yeah, she's going to strengthen whatever show, whatever division that she is a part of. So putting her or Ricky Saints, gotta get used to that, in NXT right now is fine. If they're still down there a year from now, I might have a different opinion on that. But no, I mean, that was a great way to go off the air. I do wonder if we're getting Stephanie and Julia, or are we getting a three-way at Stand and Deliver? Because they certainly teased that it could be a three-way. The way Jordan was looking at both of them and both of their belts.
Maybe we just do Jordan Grace versus one or the other, not.
Well, I was just wondering, like, they did a match many years ago, WrestleMania actually, WrestleMania 2000, the triple threat match, 2 titles on the line, first fall for one title, second fall for the other.
Yeah.
If they did something like that,
I could see that.
North American title on the line of the first fall, NXT Women's Championship on the line of the second fall. I could see that.
I like that. I mean, Stand and Deliver needs to be big, so I could see them just going all out, pulling out all the stops for that.
Well, especially if, let's say, the plan is not for Jordan to be down there for a long period of time. If she's going to be down there for a while, maybe you don't want to blow through, the biggest possible match you could do with her right away. But if she's going to be down there for a cup of coffee, yeah, absolutely, get her in there with the best that they got. If she's only going to be down there for a few months.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm looking forward to that. Whatever she does, I'm a big fan of, and very much looking forward to her. But yes, Julia did retain the championship on Saturday night at Vengeance Day, which I thought was a very good show. I would go out on a limb and say that was probably the best NXT show that I personally viewed in many months. Not a big fan of this brand on Tuesday night. You guys are raving about it tonight and raving about it every week. Oh, JD, you don't know what you're missing out on. Yeah, I do. I watch. And at the end of the day, I don't really know what you guys are talking about. Like, I'm scratching my head. I'm like, what did the chat mean? What are you guys talking about? I don't know. But NXT, very good show on Saturday night. And that takes us into Monday Night Raw, Jason. Monday Night Raw last night, I thought was a decent show. Nothing too crazy. Elimination Chamber is all set to go, both men's and women's chambers. Not really feeling the WrestleMania vibe just yet. I know you and I talked about that last week. I know you talked about it again on your own this week. Not really feeling that WrestleMania season yet. Maybe Triple H is waiting for something to happen at the chamber. Maybe something happens in the chamber. I know we got Sammy and KO and an unsanctioned match, and the rumors of Randy Orton circulating, so shit's gonna go down in Toronto for sure.
There's another reason that I think also we need to shine a light on here as to why it may feel like this. And we're on the road to WrestleMania. They say the road to WrestleMania begins at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Technically, yes, but let's be honest. I mean, the real road doesn't commence until after the Chamber, once we know who's defending against who. But we're missing some key players on these shows, right? They're building this as John Cena's final WrestleMania match. John Cena's not around. Roman Reigns is going to be on that show. Roman Reigns is not around. CM Punk, he wasn't on the show this week. So if you're thinking, man, this doesn't really feel like an exciting WrestleMania build, it's not the only reason, but when you're missing names like John Cena and Roman Reigns and Punk is not on the show every single week, you know what? Yeah, it's going to feel that way because you're missing some big guns that they're going to build this show around, and they're just not around. So I'm hoping that coming out of the chamber, Cena will be there every week. His movie that he's doing right now, hopefully will be over, and we'll be able to see him more often on the show. Roman, we got to get him on the show as well. It can't just be this once-a-month stuff. That's why, part of why people, I think, feel like, these shows they're okay, but like something's missing. Yeah, some big names are missing. That has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, it is the case. And again, last year we had The Rock at this point fucking things up, and this year we don't have that. Is he going to show up this year? Who the fuck knows? He can show up whenever he wants. We might not be thinking about him. He shows up randomly and we get him. We don't know. I think, me personally, this is just me speaking, I do think that we see a Rock appearance or two on the road to WrestleMania. I don't know if he's going to be wrestling, but I do think that he will be a part of the show at some way or in some way, shape, or form in Las Vegas. That's just my personal opinion. He could not show up, but I do think that this WrestleMania season needs something, and CM Punk, Roman Reigns, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, I don't think it's going to be enough to pique people's interests. So they need to combat the missing feeling of Dwayne not being here this year with something, and the only way that they're going to be able to combat that is with The Rock. So,
well, Dwayne is missing, and again, you don't have Cody's story. I mean, that really was the big story last year. And it played out over a year. He lost at 39. They circled back around to it. Obviously, all the drama with him and Rock, that got a lot of people excited and angry and excited, and everybody was talking about it. But that one storyline, right? Everybody was waiting to see Roman finally drop that belt. And Cody had to finish his story. We don't have anything like that this year, right? That was it. You can't. That's the kind of story you don't get every year. You get that every few years, or maybe every 5 years. A story like that might come along. So yeah, this year we don't have anything like that, right? We're waiting to find out who Cody is going to defend against. It's going to be a regular, championship match. I don't know if he's going to wrestle somebody he has a lot of history with. He's got history with Seth Rollins. He doesn't really have history with Punk. He has no history with John Cena. So you don't have that kind of rich story like we did a year ago. So the build is going to be different. Doesn't mean it's going to be bad, but that feeling we had a year ago, that's, again, part of the reason why it feels kind of dead and lackluster right now. And it is, and it's okay to call it that because that's how it is right now. I'm hoping in 2 weeks coming out of the chamber, things will become a little more clear. And it's like, okay, now we can really, get the show on the road here because there's still 2 months to go.
And the Rumble started in February, and then WrestleMania is pushed back 2 weeks in April. So
we got 8 weeks to go.
Yeah.
Chamber's coming up in 2 or less than 2 now, I think.
Yep.
So those are all those reasons together kind of conspire to create this feeling of like something's missing. But Triple H has played it safe several times over the last few months. He played it safe at Survivor Series. And he played it safe, I think, in many ways on Saturday Night's Main Event, the Raw on Netflix. This is not the time to play it safe. So if he's got a big idea or if something's going down, it needs to go down in Toronto at the Chamber.
If you're WrestleVotes, apparently they are reporting that the rumor right now is some people in WWE want to see Punk inserted into the main event of WrestleMania, which right now I think everybody's kind of feeling is Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. So that would make it a triple threat match with Punk involved at WrestleMania 41 instead of the original plan, which was coming out of the Rumble. Everybody thought it was going to be Punk, Rollins, and Reigns. Now, if you hold a gun to my head and ask me which triple threat match I would want, if I had to choose one or the other, it would be the Cena, Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk match. I would rather Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins one-on-one. This is obviously without The Rock involved in any creative at all. So I don't know how you feel about this, Jason. Punk, Cody, and Cena is the rumor right now. Again, this is just a rumor. How would that work, though, coming out of the chamber? Because John Cena right now, I would believe, is the sentimental favorite coming out of the Elimination Chamber. Punk is obviously going to be an odds-on favorite there. Does something happen where we get a double pin? Do we get 2 winners walking out of the chamber in some fuck finish? Do we get John Cena not winning the chamber and someone takes him out, which leads to a WrestleMania match? Same thing maybe for CM Punk. Is Cody going to wrestle someone that's not in the chamber here? I have no idea. What do you think this is looking like here coming out of Toronto?
I think it's very dangerous if you do a fuck finish in the Elimination Chamber. I think that would be terrible.
You don't want to see a double pin like Luger Brett in the chamber?
No, I didn't want to see Luger Brett when it happened in '94. So no, I don't want to see that in 2025. So you have, especially in a match like that, you have to have a winner. It's an elimination match. It's not even like one fall to a finish, right? So we need a winner in the chamber. It's either Punk or Cena. We have all 6 names now. Okay, Logan Paul is not winning the Elimination Chamber.
No.
Damian Priest is not winning the Elimination Chamber. Seth Rollins. Now let's look at the other 4 names. Okay, you can make a plausible case for all 4 of the other names to wrestle Cody. Right? Seth Rollins has history with Cody. Still hasn't beaten him. I don't think he's going to win, but you can make the argument. Cena, Punk, McIntyre. You can make an argument for all of them. Realistically, it's either Cena or Punk, right? I mean, do you see going any other way?
I don't.
Okay, so it's going to be one of those 2. Now, you mentioned this rumor about a triple threat. How do they get there? I don't know how they get there. They could always figure out a way. The thing I like about Cena being in a triple threat, Cena in the ring is not the same performer that he used to be. He's a huge name, right? He comes out, gets a huge reaction, then the bell rings. And once he's back in the mix more full-time and really gets into the rhythm of things, maybe we'll see a side of him we haven't seen in many years. But I've seen enough John Cena matches over the last several years where he's not the same guy. So maybe him in a triple threat match is not the worst idea in the world, as opposed to him being in a singles match, especially if it's for the WWE title. People have certain expectations about what a WWE Championship match should look like at WrestleMania. Can John Cena still have a match like that? I don't know. I just remember the Austin Theory match a couple years ago, and that was terrible. Solo Sikoa, the match with him, right? Nothing special. So I don't know what we're going to get from Cena in a singles match. He'll have plenty of singles matches this year, but in the main event of WrestleMania, I don't know. Maybe that isn't the worst idea in the world. On the flip side, I really would much prefer a singles match in the main event of WrestleMania. And Cody and Punk, I think, could have a great match. If that happens, what does John Cena do? Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Logan Paul. I don't know how you feel about that. Logan Paul's had some great matches, but for John Cena's final WrestleMania match,
I've been predicting that for months now.
Yeah, but do you want to see it?
Do I want to see it more than I want to see Cena Cody? I can't give you an answer. Short answer on that. I don't want to see either one of those matches, honestly. I don't want to see Cena Cody. I think that's fucking Vince McMahon 101 boring at WrestleMania.
Well, it's like Cena wrestling himself in many ways because Cody has modeled himself after John Cena. They're too much alike. So if you're going to do that match, I would love to see some shades of gray with John Cena. I'm not saying he's going to go turn him heel. Like, I don't see that happening. But if they drop little hints of it, where he's not acting like the usual John Cena, that could be interesting to me. That's about the only thing that would make the build to that match truly interesting. So I agree with you. It's almost like they're kind of wrestling the same person. In that way, I think Cody and Punk would be a more compelling match, right? Think of the promos that we can get between those two as we lead up to the match. But if Cena's not in that title match, who else does he wrestle? There's all kinds of rumors going around. There's a rumor about Cena and Punk one-on-one.
Is the favorite going to be called in? That's another aspect that nobody really is taking into consideration here.
If he loses the chamber?
Yeah.
How would he catch?
I don't. Listen, I'm with you there. I don't know. What does Paul Heyman's favor to CM Punk have to do with him and John Cena and him getting a main event at WrestleMania if it doesn't include Roman Reigns?
Right. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to say the favor comes into play later on down the road. It doesn't have to come into play for WrestleMania. So I don't know. And I kind of like that. I like the fact that we don't know. It could go so many different ways. But to me, you're either looking at John Cena winning the chamber or CM Punk winning the chamber. I just don't see a realistic path for any of the other four people.
All right, so fine. If that's the case, the WrestleMania card should be as follows: Cena, Cody, Punk and Rollins, McIntyre and Roman, Sammy and Cross.
Hey guys, check out some skirts and dresses that I just got. This knitted set feels so soft and the shape perfectly accentuates my curves. This red leopard print dress is bold and sexy. Just add a pair of black heels to give it a little extra. And this red leather skirt is cool and feminine. The high waist design really lengthens my legs.
That's realistically what the WrestleMania card should be. I think that's the best spot for everybody. I do think Punk and Rollins should be a match at WrestleMania to finish off maybe a stipulation match. And I do think the best match for Drew McIntyre is Roman Reigns. Nobody's going to convince me of that otherwise. I don't know what you do with Drew McIntyre other than Roman Reigns, honestly. It's like why do you want to drop the bloodline mission? Like, I got to eliminate the bloodline, get revenge of the bloodline. To do what? Go wrestle LA Knight and Damien Priest? Who gives a fuck?
Well, I mean, they've planted the seeds for McIntyre and Priest. So that seems to be, unless they switch and they switch to him and Knight, that seems to be the match they're going to do. He cashed in his Money in the Bank on McIntyre last year. They had a match at Clash of the Castle that really didn't have a clean finish because Punk was the referee and he got involved there. Priest eliminated him from the Royal Rumble. Like, the seeds have been planted. So I don't know that they're going to deviate from that plan. I agree. The best possible opponent for him is either Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes. You can do McIntyre and Cody. I see Cody and McIntyre maybe as a SummerSlam match, honestly. I don't think he really has a shot at winning the chamber. I just don't. And especially they're talking about how he's already won 2. He might win a third. Like, he's not winning a third.
Or maybe we do McIntyre and Cena, then we do Punk and Cody, and then we do Rollins and Reigns. I mean, that's a good alternative WrestleMania card as well.
Yeah.
Again,
And
I don't know.
one of the matches I thought of just to make sure Logan Paul is not in that top mix. AJ Styles. AJ Styles and Logan Paul could be a match at WrestleMania.
What do you do with Braun Breaker then, Penta?
Well, no, because I figure Braun Breaker is defending that title against AJ at the Chamber. I don't see a need to wait until WrestleMania to do that match. So
We've got 8 fucking weeks.
Yeah, but they're already teasing AJ and Braun. I don't want to wait 8 weeks to see that match.
No, I agree.
Do it at the Chamber. If anything, again, I come back to Sheamus. People are forgetting about Sheamus. Well, I know they probably won't, but I would like them to find a way to revisit that story and have Sheamus go to WrestleMania and beat Braun to win the Intercontinental.
Well, I have a feeling they're going to do fucking something stupid at WrestleMania. I feel like we're going to get a multi-man ladder match with Kaiser and Pete Dunne and Sheamus and all these other guys on Monday night that have no direction going into WrestleMania, which I don't want, because then you're just doing the Vince thing and adding people to the card just for the sake of adding people to the card.
Well, that's what people have been worried about, is the fact that they're, and again, nobody knows. We don't know more than 2 or 3 matches officially yet for WrestleMania, but everyone's kind of trying to game this out. They're like, man, this could be a multi-man IC match, and the tag teams on SmackDown, that could be a multi-team tag team match, and Rhea may defend her title against 2 people instead of 1. And so, like,
I'm okay with this triple threat room where Cody and Cena and Punk. Like, how many multi-man matches you want?
You don't want to overload multi-person matches, so yeah, I don't want to see that either. But I could see them wanting to get as many people on the card as humanly possible. And so what do? Even though you got 2 nights, you still only have so many spots. There's going to be multi-person matches. I mean, unless they move the Andre Battle Royal to WrestleMania, which they don't. They usually have that on TV. If you're not going to have a Battle Royal, then the easiest way to get people on the show is to have 4 ways and 6 ways, and one of them is fine. But you don't want to overload on them. So yeah, Braun could defend in a multi-man match. Nakamura could defend his U.S. title in a multi-man match. He could defend that title against Carmelo Hayes and LA Knight and any number of people. Right? We don't know. We don't know. So it's still kind of wide. It still feels kind of wide open. We haven't even said anything about the women's mid-card titles, which they have. I mean, you talk about dropping the ball so far on those titles. I don't even know if they're going to be defended on that show.
I don't know. We were talking about Lyra and Becky a few weeks back. I don't know. I think Becky's fucking it's like Batman in the night. Where the fuck is she? We don't know. Lyra needs something. I don't know what that is. Becky could be it. I said if Roxanne's going to be on Raw, just give her the IC title. Honestly.
Well, she's getting Dakota next week, which honestly,
I can't wait, man.
I thought Ivy Nyla had that match last night, and then all of a sudden Dakota wins, and it's like, okay, they were building to Ivy.
Yes.
I guess they want to go to this first and beat Dakota twice.
I don't know. I've given up hope on Lyra being the champion. Same thing with Chelsea Green. I had a feeling that they were going to fuck things up, and they did exactly that. But
this is why I suggested. I didn't have an issue with them introducing an Intercontinental title, but what I did not want to see was them introduce IC and be like, oh, we need a US, or introduce US and be like, oh, we need IC. Like, introduce one, even if that champion goes back and forth for a while, and see how it goes. Because this is what I feared. This is the exact thing that I feared, right? They just were not going to put a whole lot of effort into stories around these new championships to really get them established, and they were just going to end up being there, like taking up space. Now we have 2 of them instead of 1.
Yeah, I agree.
That was my fear from the beginning.
I don't know.
That's why you watched those matches last night, dude.
There's no heat. There's no heat.
It's like they're comatose. I felt bad for them. Like
then they put Roxanne and Raquel in a match. They're both fucking heels. What are we doing over there?
Roxanne? No, you mean Roseanne? That's what Lillian called her.
Oh, I didn't pick that up.
Roseanne Perez. I said Roseanne Perez. Wrestled Raquel Rodriguez last night on Raw. Like, I hear that right?
I must have missed that, man.
Oh yeah. Roseanne Perez wrestled Raquel Rodriguez last night. But see, at least in that match, like you said, it's 2 heels, and so it's like, all right, nobody knows who to really root for. Roxanne's still new to the main roster, so I can understand people not really getting behind her. But I'm watching that Ivy Nyla and Dakota match, and nobody cares.
No,
like it didn't matter what they did. They didn't do anything wrong, but nobody cared.
No.
Because they're fighting over a #1 contender spot for a championship that nobody cares about.
And then Lyra gets in the ring and she holds the belt up and they have a stare down and nobody cares. Not a single peep. My best friend was in attendance. You know what he did? He walked out after an hour and a half.
Oh, the entire show?
Yeah, see, he went home. He's like, fuck this shit, man.
Well, how much did he pay for his tickets? Because if he paid good money for those tickets,
no, his wife got the tickets for Valentine's Day. They were sitting very, very far up. So they must have been, I don't know how much WWE bleacher seats are going for now, but.
Well, that's what I mean. Like the way, for what these tickets go for these days, I was going to say, like, I hope he didn't pay too much for those seats.
No, he walked out after an hour.
Well, then he missed Cody because Cody had a dark match last night.
He's not a Cody guy. He hates Cody.
Really?
Yeah. Like, he didn't care. Anyway, the ladies, it's tough. It's tough in the women's division if you're not named Bianca or Charlotte or Tiffany Stratton and Rhea Ripley. But Monday night, otherwise, besides the ladies' matches, I thought it was a decent show. Nothing overwhelmingly groundbreaking on the show. But Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, Jason, this was probably the best part of the entire night. I love this opening segment. I love the fact that Owens is just, he's not a care in the fucking world. No matter who he beats up and who he is injuring and threatening their careers with. Kevin Owens, love the in-car promos. They're just so grainy and so gritty. I like it. Sami Zayn took the package pile driver. He wants a match now. Kevin Owens said it on Friday. I'll meet you in Toronto. Sami Zayn said, fine. Adam Pearce would not sanction it. So they went back and forth on Monday night last night. And Adam Pearce said, you want it? Fine. Kevin Owens can wrap a steel chair around your head over and over again, pile drive you over and over again. Nothing I can do about it. And back and forth they went. And he finally said, unsanctioned. It is not official. It is unsanctioned. We got this match on Elimination Chamber Saturday, March 1st. How do you see this playing out? Is this, because I mentioned this last night on Twitter and then I mentioned it on my stream. I don't think they do it. But is WWE going to take Sami and KO into WrestleMania? Or is this going to be the return of Randy Orton at the Elimination Chamber to help Sami Zayn and then we get Orton and Owens at WrestleMania?
Well, that's the $1 million question. I was thinking about that myself last night, and it is unsanctioned, right? So Randy Orton could show up and he could punt kick him, he can RKO him, and it's all legal, right? But them doing an unsanctioned match makes me think that we are going to get kind of an official match, and that would be at WrestleMania. But what do you do with Randy Orton? There's only one person that Randy Orton should go after when he comes back. Nothing else makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It has to be Kevin Owens. I don't want that to be a multi-man match. Okay,
No, I mean,
multi-man
we talked about this a few weeks back. I mean, for all we know, everybody's thinking, well, Randy Orton's going to target Kevin Owens because that's the one thing that we saw last. But who's to say Randy Orton's not sitting at home and seeing everything transpire on television, and then all this time off comes back and eventually blames Cody Rhodes, and we get the match that we want.
Which in that case, what you would do then is you wouldn't even have Randy on the WrestleMania card. What you would do is you would wait until, let's say, SmackDown that Friday or Raw that Monday, and you would have him come out of nowhere and drop Cody, and people asking why, and then we get the explanation that the more he sat at home and saw things play out, the more Kevin Owens made sense, right? Yes, you could do that. If the plan would be to turn Randy heel and then coming out of Mania, you go into a Cody-Randy feud, I would be okay with that. I just find it hard to believe that they're going to keep Randy out of the Rumble, they're going to keep him off the Chamber show, and he's not going to have a role at WrestleMania if he's healthy, right? They're just going to send him home until post-Mania. I don't see it. I find it hard to believe he wouldn't have some kind of role on that show. That tells me we see Orton at the Chamber, or immediately after, and we build to Owens and Randy, and like you said, we may get Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross, which for Karrion Kross, I mean, that would be the biggest opportunity of his career. For Sami Zayn, it would be a downgrade, from what he's been doing. Look at what he's done at the last couple of WrestleManias, right? There's no doubt about it. It would be a downgrade for him, just based on the way Kross has been booked. But for Kross, he's on social media cutting these promos that are better than what they have him doing on TV. I wish they would show some of that on the television show.
I know. Some of his social media work is better than anything he's doing on TV.
Yeah, and that's not a new thing. I mean, he's done that type of stuff for a while. So for him, it would be a huge opportunity. And maybe, obviously, we're getting something with him and Sami. I just don't know if it's going to be a WrestleMania match or if it's going to be a TV match. That may be it. That may take Sami away from Kevin, get Kevin and Randy. We've seen Kevin and Sami at WrestleMania before. If we're going to get even an unsanctioned match at the Chamber, I'm okay with them going a different way for WrestleMania. I don't think we need to get it again. But then you have to do Owens and Randy.
Well, I mean, listen, I don't want to disrespect Kross in any way because I do feel like this is a breakout year for him. I don't want to keep him off the card just because it's not WrestleMania worthy. He certainly deserves a spot there. But what if we wait for Kross and Sami till after WrestleMania? And I mentioned the tag team match. I've been pitching this for the last 2 weeks. I don't know if this is feasible or not. Maybe we do Randy Orton coming back and saving Sami from Kevin Owens at the Chamber. And instead of doing Owens and Randy at WrestleMania and doing Sami and Kross, why don't we wait for Sami and Kross till after WrestleMania and we integrate and pivot Drew McIntyre away from whatever the plans were with LA Knight or Damian Priest or whoever it's going to be, whatever the rumors are speculating. Maybe we do Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens versus Sami and Randy Orton at WrestleMania. Do you see that being a possibility just to kind of make the card a little bit more substantial?
As a tag team match?
Yeah.
No. Drew McIntyre in a tag team match?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know then.
Why?
So he doesn't wrestle Damian Priest.
I think a tag team match would be beneath him.
You'd rather see Damian Priest than Drew McIntyre? Or LA Knight Drew McIntyre?
Well, you know what? I think there are ways to make, especially the LA Knight match, interesting if you play off their recent issues, actually. Yeah, I think the build to that match could actually be very entertaining.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like even if you think that would be like a bigger match, for him to just end up in a tag team match would be underwhelming.
All right, let's say Orton does come back and target Cody. We get Orton and Cody. Then we get Cena and Punk. And then we get Rollins and Reigns. I mean, how would the card flesh out if Orton does come back and target Cody? Where do you see everybody else fitting? Because I actually like that idea, honestly. Out of everything, I would love that idea. I would even have Orton win the title and walk out of WrestleMania with the WWE title.
No, but that's the thing. I don't see Orton, if he's going to do that, to me, that's post-Mania. It doesn't make sense. I mean, the winner of the Elimination Chamber wrestles Cody Rhodes. Randy Orton is not in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
So you got to wait then. If you're going to do that, then you have to hold him out until post-Mania. And then there's Cody's first program right there. To do it at Mania, how are you going to do that? Doesn't make sense.
I'm going to blame everything on The Rock. It's all his fault.
No, blame it on Triple H. He's the one booking this.
If we knew The Rock was going to be here, everything would be solved.
You know what? I think they'd be a hell of a lot better off if they just planned each year that The Rock is not going to be there.
Yeah.
And just pretended like, okay, we don't know, but we're going to assume the answer is no. And let's just take what we got and we'll focus on that and not worry about that.
I don't know. We'll see. The Chamber's going to reveal, hopefully, a lot to this puzzle, this WrestleMania puzzle. But Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn is an unsanctioned match. I love what they did on Monday night last night, the opening of the show. AJ Styles came back. They teased a match potentially with Braun Breaker. He speared the shit out of Dominic Mysterio. Like Jason said, I could see that taking place at the Elimination Chamber, and then a multi-person match at WrestleMania involving everybody that's been kind of vying for the title. Because remember a couple weeks ago, Braun Breaker wanted to pull Adam Pearce to the side and say, are we going to do something about respecting me and respecting the championship? I need competition. So it may be one of those deals where he finds 5 other guys and they just throw them in a ladder match. So Braun Breaker, noticeably absent from these shows, not really defending the title, not wrestling. I want to see more of him, but I guess in due time we'll see him on Monday night. What else happened? We had Judgment Day. Apparently, Finn Balor is continuing to tell Dominic Jason, no more new members. Do you see someone being added to the Judgment Day in replace of Finn Balor as we head to WrestleMania, and his name potentially could be Aleister Black? Do you see that happen?
I could see it. The only thing is, like, Zelina now is on SmackDown.
Yeah.
My guess is, when he comes in, I'm sure he's coming in. My assumption is that they'll be on the same brand. So that just doesn't work. And also, if you're going to bring Aleister Black in to lead the Judgment Day, this Judgment Day is going to have to look very different because they're a comedy group right now. So Aleister Black, as we know him, with this current incarnation of the Judgment Day, unless major changes are made, doesn't really fit. So again, this is like Judgment Day 3.0 here. Okay, it's not exactly the strongest version of the Judgment Day. It could work, but there would have to be real changes made to the way the group is presented. Other new members may be added. So I could see it. I don't know how likely it is, but do I see Balor being bounced out of the Judgment Day soon? Yes, I do. I'm surprised it hasn't happened by now, to be honest with you.
Who do you think is WrestleMania matches, Dominic?
Yeah, I mean, unless they did bring in someone like Aleister in the next few weeks, and we got Black and Balor, then who else would it be if not Dominic? There's a lot of tension between those two, so they're definitely building to something between Balor and Dominic. And I don't know what Dominic is doing at Mania if not a match with Balor.
I don't care if Dominic is in a wrestling match at Mania or not. I would play up the fact that he did hire a new member and he's not going to reveal him until WrestleMania, and then it ends up being Aleister Black, and then they kick Balor out at WrestleMania, and then make Black the new leader.
Or you set it up the way like we had Cody and Rollins 2 years ago, or was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago now. 3 years ago, where he's got a new member and there's going to be a match. Maybe Balor says, he's angry. Like, I told you no new members, and I'm going to take this guy on. And that's how they, debut Aleister Black in a match as a mystery man at WrestleMania against Balor, and he beats him. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I like that. I think he will be in imminently. There should be some Aleister Black on TV as long as they take the NXT Black and Gold that we remember and put him on Monday or Friday. We're good to go.
Will he be allowed to keep his old music?
Yes, absolutely. I'm guaranteeing they bring back his old music.
And that was CFOs, was it not?
Wasn't that Code Orange?
I'm pretty sure it was CFOs.
I don't know. Everything but the Casket Creek when he comes up during the entrance.
Code Orange did the live performance, but I don't know if that's their song.
I don't know. Chat, what do you know, man? Let us know. You guys know better than me. I don't know. Whatever. Something similar. Maybe. I mean, Malachi or Aleister, he's got a lot of musician friends in the heavy metal scene. I'm assuming he gets someone to write him the theme.
Yeah, but that song was so good.
I know.
Let's talk about the Women's Chamber.
Women's Chamber. We got Bianca. We have Naomi. We have Roxanne. We have Liv. Who am I missing?
Alexa.
Alexa's in there. She's not winning. Who else is in there? One more. Who am I forgetting?
No, do you name them all? Liv, Alexa, Bailey.
Bailey, that's right. Yes.
Bailey. You gotta see, they're saying in the chat, CFOs produced, Code Orange performed.
Whatever the cost is, spend it.
Yeah, it's not like they don't have money.
You know, WWE uploaded the Judgment Day theme that they replaced Alter Bridge with onto their YouTube channel.
I did not.
I would love to see the like to dislike ratio on that one.
It just, I have to listen to it, but I don't even know if it's a bad song so much as it just doesn't fit.
No.
It just doesn't fit that group.
No.
Women's
Chamber. I'm sticking with Bianca. I think Bianca's going to end up winning it, and I just find it very difficult to see Io losing clean and not having a role at WrestleMania. I genuinely believe we're going for a triple threat here. Rhea, Io, and Bianca. The only thing is, I know Jade's in the news now, and Jade's at the Performance Center, and she's going to be coming back. I don't know if we see her next week because tag team championships will be on the line between Liv and Raquel against Bianca and Naomi. We could see her next week. How do you see this playing out?
I think that you are correct in that we are headed for a triple threat. I think you have the wrong configuration of people. I think we're looking at Rhea, Liv, and Io.
Really?
Okay. That's what I'm feeling. Because like I'm looking, I would love to see Bianca win the Chamber. I've talked before about wanting to see Rhea and Bianca at WrestleMania. I think that would be great, and I have no issue if it plays out that way. I don't think it needs to be a triple threat. You just do one-on-one. But I'm looking at the names that we have here. Alexa, I don't see winning. Bailey is not winning. But Bailey and Roxanne, they kind of cancel each other out, right? So whatever they're going to be doing, I think they'll shoot that angle in the Chamber. Maybe one eliminates the other. So Bailey's not winning. Roxanne's not winning. Naomi's not winning. So that leaves Liv, Alexa, and Bianca. Alexa Bliss, I don't see it. Liv or Bianca. It just feels like Liv. There's a better chance of it being Liv Morgan, right? I mean, Bianca wasn't actively involved in this other story. I think I would feel differently. But my fear is that she's going to be tied down to whatever's going on there, and Liv gets the win. And I like Liv. I don't have anything against Liv. I just don't have the appetite to go back to Rhea and Liv. But I feel like this time they'll throw Io in there. We won't get a decisive winner in their match on Raw, and that's how we end up getting a triple threat. Potentially, whatever the explanation is, it ends up being a three-way. But those are the three. Bianca ends up not being involved.
Well, to be fair, Jason did say before the Royal Rumble, keep an eye on Jey Uso. And then what happened? Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble. He could very well be right here. It is not outlandish to think that Liv and her winning the Chamber, it is a very feasible thing for sure. I don't care to see it. But what if Jay comes back and Naomi is the one that targeted her and attacked Jade Cargill? Then where does that leave Bianca? How does she get involved in that? And where do we go with that?
I've been saying Naomi for months. Like they shot that stupid angle on Friday. Like we're supposed to all believe that Liv and Raquel, these stupid baby faces. They see them on that video that Nick Aldis shows. Oh, we're going to Raw. Like, okay, we found the culprit. I coined the phrase many years ago, dumb babyface syndrome. It was on display there on Friday night, right? Well, they were in the parking lot, so they must have done it. No, I'm sticking with Naomi. I still think Naomi, she's a little nervous in that video footage right before Nick Aldis pushed play. If they do that and we find out that Naomi was the culprit, that I've been struggling with what the match is because I'm sure Jade is back before then. So you would think if it was Naomi that they would do Jade against Naomi. Would it not feel weird if Bianca wasn't involved in some way?
Yes.
So, but like a triple threat wouldn't really make sense because why would Bianca want to wrestle Jade? So I haven't figured that out yet.
The President's Day super sale at Furniture Row has been extended, so there's still time to save $100 on every $1,000 you spend. Check out special purchases while they last, or score 60 months no interest. But hurry, the extended President's Day super sale at Furniture Row ends soon.
Everybody else that covers SmackDown says the same thing every fucking Friday, minus the 3 hours, because we all know it's a long show and it shouldn't be 3 hours. It's just fucking boring. There's nothing exciting coming off the show, and I hope that changes, but I don't want them to blame Road Dogg and not blame Triple H, because whatever gets written gets handed to Triple H, and he's the one that signs off on everything, and he's got the final say, and it's all going to fall in his lap regardless, and should fall in his lap. So I don't want people to start blaming Road Dogg and not Triple H, but I'm willing to give him a shot.
Well, I mean, yes, but were you not one of the people always blaming Bruce, right? So it's kind of like the same thing where it's like, you're right. It's ultimately...
Well, Bruce and Vince were one and the same, man. Come on.
Yes, but nonetheless, if that's the case, ultimately the blame rests at the feet of whoever is the head of creative, which in this case is Triple H. And these reports that came out about Road Dogg indicate the way it was written sounds like he hasn't started, or he's just starting out in that position. So Triple H is fully responsible for the SmackDown that we've seen over the last few months. And SmackDown has really become, of all the shows during the week, you talk about Raw, you talk about Dynamite, you talk about SmackDown. Some people might want to throw NXT in there. SmackDown is routinely the worst of all the shows. Like, not every week, but on a lot of weeks.
Yeah.
And it didn't always used to be that way. Like there was a period even last year, I think in the summer, where they had a hot streak going there. Again, the show was 2 hours instead of 3. But SmackDown has become, and that's the worst thing that it could be, a largely just a very boring, dull show. It's just not fun. And we're heading into WrestleMania now, and again, okay, let's get to the Elimination Chamber. Maybe things will be different when they get some of these faces back that we don't see on TV every week, but something has to change. And it's going to be very tough until they go back to 2 hours in May or June or whatever it is, because this show at 3 hours is just, it's unbearable. And what you're running into on a lot of weeks, the third hour might be pretty good, but the first 2 aren't, right? Or the first hour maybe ends up being pretty good, but the next 2 are just a chore to sit through. And it just ruins the whole viewing experience for the show. So that doesn't help. But what really compelling stories are being told on SmackDown right now, right? We're still talking about the bloodline. We have Jacob and Solo and what's going on there. What else is going on right now on SmackDown week to week at 3 hours that really grabs you?
Nothing.
Right? Not a whole lot. I'm still scratching my head as to how they're using Carmelo Hayes.
Oh, Kevin
who's been on
Owens.
the main-
Kevin Owens is feuding with someone that's not even on the brand.
Right. So before with Cody and KO, you could say, okay, the Cody and KO stuff, I like that story, but that's over now. And so now he's feuding with Sammy, who's not even on SmackDown. So SmackDown is the weakest show of all the shows each week. Something has to change. Maybe this will be a positive change if someone is bringing a new vision to, some new ideas to the table. We'll see. But when I first heard the news and I heard Road Dogg, I said, oh boy. I saw Road Dogg and I saw SmackDown. I said, not this again. But that was Vince. This is Triple H. But Triple H hasn't exactly been lighting the world on fire with SmackDown the last few months. That's all I'm